contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There were two special moments at Dodger Stadium last night when the Dodgers played the Chicago White Sox. Freddie Freeman delivered a game-winning single in the bottom of the ninth inning to cap a 3-run rally and give the Dodgers a 5-4 win. In the sixth inning, Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw struck out White Sox third baseman Vinny Capra to reach 3,000 strikeouts. All 3,000 came during Kershaw's 18-year career with the Dodgers. Kershaw became the 20th Major League pitcher to add the legendary milestone to his Hall of Fame resume. Kershaw will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer 5 years after he retires. The Lakers may have gotten the center they've been looking for. They signed free agent DeAndre Ayton to a 2-year contract. Ayton, the number one pick in the 2018 NBA draft, averaged 14.4 points and 10.2 rebounds last season with Portland. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too unsettling. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. With hopes that black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my very first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from the Most High. Asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders and getting it started. We continue our trip, our journey, our people's trip to West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and Benin. We started out with 52 travelers. Now we're at 50 because a couple of them flew home, but you're with us virtually, audio, visually through the radio and the social media, and hopefully in spirit. We're on our way now to the slave dungeon in Ghana. And I say the, but I really shouldn't say the because There are about 40 of these types of forts. There are like forts and castles with dungeons underneath where they kept people, black humans, who were meant to be shipped as cargo to wherever they were going to be shipped, the New World, England or Brazil or Cuba, the many, many places throughout the Caribbean. Everywhere they took human beings when they were traded like animals. We're on our way there. We're on our way to the biggest dungeon. It's not the biggest castle, but the biggest dungeon where enslaved people were kept. And it's part of our pilgrimage here on the Cape Coast of Ghana. It's an experience that brings mixed feelings because on the one hand, I want to pay tribute to my ancestors. This is for me the third trip to Ghana. On the other hand, it's a horror. How many times would you visit Auschwitz? How many times would you retrace the Trail of Tears? How many times would you view a body in a morgue? And so there's a sense of dread, a sense of just anticipation. On the other hand, we want to bring light, we want to bring love. We're bringing a wreath of flowers. We will pour libations. All of these things that we will do to honor, uplift, bring light, bring love, bring healing to our ancestors and to ourselves. As a group, we did a prayer. We made a circle and did a prayer around the reinterred enslaved persons that were brought back to Ghana, their graves marked, and a memorial garden in their honor with a meditation space. All of that felt like visiting, well, it was visiting a grave site, but this is not an official grave site. It is a site of horror. It is a crime scene, really. And while it's historical, it's also terrible. So we're on our way there, and for each of the people, it means something different. It'll hit them in a different way. Most of the people on our trip are descendants from enslaved Africans who became American freedmen. Most of us. But of course, we know all human life descends from the cradle of civilization, which is the Nile Valley, the region around East Africa, where we find all of the remains, Lucy. And it's not just Lucy, because I was on our first trip to Africa in 2016 with African Focus, and at that time, Stevie Wonder's radio station. Now we team up with Tavis Smiley's radio station. What an honor and a privilege to be representing KBLA as well as African Focus Incorporated. At that time, when we went to see Lucy, which is the bones, of course, of the famous celebrated bones of the early Homo sapiens sapien, who really was famous and covered in worldwide news because she proved that modern man originated in Africa. However, what I did not know, and what I found out when we went to that museum in Ethiopia, was that there are literally hundreds of such bones in the various stages of humankind, and that there are very, very many remains of the cousins and brothers and sisters of Lucy. So in fact, the proof that human life originates here, and that no matter who you are, you're an African in some sense, is irrefutable. It's overwhelming. So all of us have a DNA connection on some level to the horror that we will be seeing, and all of us are family. All of us have the responsibility and the honor of uplifting our ancestors. And it is truly Sankofa, not looking back to get stuck, looking back to go forward, looking back to go forward. I'm Dominique DiPrima, broadcasting from Ghana today, Ghana, Nigeria, and Benin, on this trip with African Focus Incorporated, KBLA Talk 1580, and you.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near
Coverage
you.
varies by plan. View contract and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
Do you own a 2005 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all? With the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering a low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save you thousands off costly vehicle repairs. Get your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage are included. For your free quote, call 800-689-5978. 800-689-5978.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
KBLA Talk 1580. As you can hear, I'm on a bus full of travelers, 50 of us to be exact, along with our tour guides and Ghanaian bus driver, and we are leaving the Cape Coast slave castle. I don't know why they call it a castle. It's really a dungeon. It's really, well, y'all know what I think. But wanting to share with you some of the information that our tour guide provided us. And as I said, these tour guides here, they get master's degrees. They have knowledge. They're not just some guy they picked up off the street. These are people who are well educated in this history, and so they're able to share a lot of details that many of us might not even know. And so we're going to share that experience with you. Imagine yourself, well, you can go see some pictures on my Instagram, or Miles is, DiPrima Radio, of course KBLA 1580, and Miles on Music. Imagine yourself deep in the country in Ghana, on the Cape Coast, inside the dungeon, literally inside the dungeon, there where our ancestors were held. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Post slave castle. The structure that we see here happens to be the third and the smallest castle that was built by the Europeans. The coast of Africa, we estimate over 60 forts and castles to be built here. Just that Ghana alone had more than 40 of them, which was all because of gold. That made the Portuguese name this region as the Gold Coast. Nigeria, Benin, Niger, a section of Togo had the name Slave Coast because that was where most of the West Africans actually were captured from. Places like Cameroon, Grain Coast, Ivory Coast, and the others got these names based on the resource that they were getting from their lands. A lot of these Africans I made mention moved from Nigeria, Benin, Niger. Imagine yourself today being asked to walk from Accra to this place. The journey and the struggle before you make it to this end, but then this time around, some had to walk beyond the borders of present-day Ghana. A lot of them died, because coming in, wild animals might attack some of them. Some had to get drowned in rivers. tiredness, hunger, and sickness could also kill them. For you to make it to the dungeons, the middlemen, actually because of the distance, created resting points. In Ghana, mostly we call them the slave markets. So from the north down to the south, a lot of them do spread. The most popular one is just about 55 kilometers away from this place, called Asin Manso. Over there, they had a river, and that was where most of the captives got their last bath as Africans. They gave them food to eat to regain some strength. The beard and hair is to be shaved so they look younger for the trade. Then shea butter will be smeared on the skin. And the purpose of the butter was to heal their wounds and also make them look attractive before they bring them into the slave castles. Within this structure, they had a place called the Palava Hall. In there, nurses, doctors are to examine them, group them into domestic and commercial captives. Domestic ones were those to work in here, and the commercial ones were those to be exported. Then right after, they would exchange them with commodities such as guns, gunpowders, mirrors, drinkables like rams, sugar, tobacco, and other things that you might have heard they were using for the exchange. Right after the exchange, they moved them all to the courtyard to get them branded. With the branding, they set fire, would place in metals that had their embossed designs underneath them. So a metal seen red hot, just from the fire moves into an oil, from the oil to any part of the body they stamp. So it could be the chest, the shoulder, the back, or the arm. Some preferred having captives pierced with tags like earrings, and others were given metals like anklets. They separate the males from the females to await their ship. But then whilst waiting for the ship, they work in here. So the structure that we are seeing, to credit it to the English, but then the labor work happens to be the enslaved Africans. So I always say the Africans actually built their own dungeons. A lot of forts and castles actually were built in here. Out of these numbers, only 3 were slave castles. The first ever European structure to be built on our land happens to be the St. George's Castle. Popularly today, we call it Elmina Dungeons or Elmina Slave Castle. It was built by the Portuguese around 1482. The second is the Christiansborg or Diosu, built by the Danish around 1661. And the last is where we all stand today, the Cape Coast Slave Dungeons, which also was built by the English around 1664. Out of these 3 structures, Cape Coast is the only castle built purposely for the transatlantic slave trade. So when you talk of castles, this is the smallest and the last castle that was built. But then when talking of dungeons, this happens to be the biggest dungeon ever to be built in Africa for the transatlantic slave trade. The trade took place in 3 continents, which was Europe, Africa, and then the Americas, which lasted for 300 years, of which other historians would even tell you 400 years, which they are not far from the wrong answer, all because before even the Europeans had gotten to the New World, they had already been picking Africans from this place. The first group of Africans taken by the Portuguese was somewhere 1441, which was in Senegal. They took these 12 African boys, saying they were going to Christianize them, make them missionaries so they could bring them back to spread their gospel and serve as their interpreters. But as I speak with you, we don't know what happened to these 12 Africans. Right from that moment, any time the Portuguese would come in here, moving, they probably would move with Africans, but it was in smaller quantity. And from 1441, they came in every time until 1471. They settled on our land. That was where they realized everything they were searching along the coast of Guinea was right here. And that made them name this region as the Gold Coast. The state monopolized the trade for some time until the 1500s when they had got into the New World. Plantations like sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, coffee, and others were established in large scale. Earlier, natives from those lands were subjected to work on the plantations, but then the hardship was killing them. They got introduced to disease like measles, pox, influenza, tuberculosis, and others. They were owners of the land, so easily they could escape from the plantations. A Catholic missionary with the name Bartolomeo de las Casas suggested Africans to be used, justifying the Africans being stronger, that the African system could withstand both the tropical disease as well as their European diseases. And looking at the climatic condition in Africa, And the work the Africans were doing here, it was similar to what they expect them to do in the New World, mainly agriculture. So moving them out should be of their best advantage. The then Pope was by name Pope Nicholas V. And Pope Nicholas had the papal bull or the decree signed, which was to seal or to commence with their trade. In here, they had different ways to get the Africans. Some Africans were raided, kidnapped along the coast by the early Europeans themselves. Some were brought in here as a result of tribal wars and frictions. Others also were convinced, or some would say deceived, that they were going to give them better lives if they were to join them to the New World. But then once you get out there, whatever they had promised you on your land is not what you are going to be given out there. The trade doesn't end in Africa, because after exchanging humans with guns, mirrors, and others, in the New World, plantation owners are also to exchange these same Africans with sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, coffee, rice, and others, and the raw materials are all moving to Europe to be transformed into finished goods. All these goods are moving back here for the cycle to start all over. That gave us the triangular trade or the transatlantic slave trade. So basically, that is the system. If you have any question, comments, contribution before we start with the experience, you would let me know. It's to provide them with light and also serve as their source of ventilation. So if it was nighttime like this, probably you wouldn't see any person standing in here. So as to whether the person was in pain or not, you probably wouldn't know, even if the person beside you was dead. Until daytime, you wouldn't know. The male dungeon is divided into 5 chambers. The first, second, third, fourth, down to the fifth one over there. Per the estimate we have in here, each room could hold about 150 to 200 of them. So mathematically, we are expecting about 700 to 1,000 humans in the 5 chambers. They were raided, kidnapped, hunted through warfare. So the place wouldn't always be filled with captives. Sometimes a chamber could even be less than 50. But then because of the conditions down here, not all of them were to make it out of this point. Once they brought the Africans down here, they expect them to defecate, urinate, sleep, and as well eat in the same dungeon, of which a lot of them got sick. Because keeping just this number, about 50 of us in here, communicable disease easily would spread amongst us. Aside that, the unhygienic condition would add up to the illness. Cholera, malaria, fever, diarrhea, and others. If you were to die in the dungeon, get to know there wouldn't be any befitting burial for you. They would load the bodies in sacks, would add cannonballs to give it weight, and dump all these bodies into the ocean. So the sea out there happens to be mass burial for a lot of the Africans that died in here. On the floor, you would see some trenches or drainage systems here. They served as passage for waste of the captives to move into the sea. But then we ask ourselves, the numbers even standing in here, if we were all to ease ourselves, not all of us could get closer to this end. So just at where they were standing, they would defecate, they would urinate, and as well would be vomiting. Before domestic captives themselves would even come in to clean up, some of them might have stepped on the poop and other stuff, making them stuck here. So what they could get from this place, they do so. The rest, they cover them with sand. And over the years, it created layers in the dungeon. 1974, we had some group of archaeologists from the University of Ghana. They came in, had this place excavated, discovered the bricks that we stand on as the original floor of the dungeon. So they took samples of what they got from the surface to their lab, got them tested. The result that came out proves that whatever we step on from the second down to the fifth chamber, as well as the smaller portion that they left over there. So please, can you move in this way a little bit? The smaller portion they left over there happens to be the toilet, the vomit, the sweat, the blood, the food particles. You can name them, things that humans are to excrete and eject from their system. With sand, food, and blood is what we see here. and we are to work on in the other chambers. They left them unexcavated just to serve as a proof, so that if you don't believe, there are samples all over to test as to whether they contain human DNA or not. Once an African was brought into the dungeon, the expectation was that you stayed here minimum just a day, maximum you could stay in almost or over 3 months. But then personally, I always say, no captive that actually came in right after the ship actually left could spend less than 3 months here. You probably might spend even 4 or 5 months in here. Because even today with propellers, moving ships faster, it sometimes takes some ship about 2 weeks before it moved from America to this place. And those days they were sailing. So imagine the journey from this place, now moving to the Caribbean, offload, load goods, move to the northern part of the Americas. From there, it would have to go to Europe, from Europe before it comes back here. And looking at the map we have, from Europe, let's say England back to Ghana, might take you longer than you even going that way to the northern part of the Americas. So probably they might spend about 5 months in here till ships would come, move them out. Out of the 5 chambers they had here, only the first one had a gate, because majority of them kept in the first chamber were seen to be aggressive, and most of them were kept in chains, to the extent that some were even hooked to the wall, preventing them from strangling or fighting officers when they were in to bring food, or probably come actually spy on them in here. The male dungeon. Question, comment, if you have any, you let me know. If not,
what kind of door was here?
They had a metal door here. The rest were all left open.
Solid metal?
Just blocking them. We paused here all because of the hole up there. Just above this section of the dungeon happens to be a church. And the name of the church was the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. That is the same church today we call the Anglican Church or Church of England. Moving in and out of the church, you would smell, you would hear and get to see everything that was happening down here. And I always do say, during the time of the trade, most of the missionaries that came in here never brought their gospel for the African salvation. Rather, it was one of the tools that they used to enslave the Africans. And if you read most of the letters that some of their kings and missionaries were writing to them, even in here, a typical example is the letter that King Leopold from Belgium brought to the people in Congo. It states that they were not in for the African salvation. Rather, they were in to probably get whatever they had on their lands. And this is not the only place they had built a church above a dungeon. Almost all the 3 slave castles had the same system. Talking of traditional churches that we have in Ghana, the Anglican Church started right above us. Wesley Methodist was at the forecourt here. You visit Elmina Castle, right above the slave markets, they had the Catholic Church. The Dutch took over Elmina, built a church above the female dungeon. And if you visit Osu, you'll see the Presbyterian Church also right on top of the female dungeon. So most of these churches were situated on top of dungeons until later they moved it to the town. At the point, the premises up there became a school. And the school was not designed for purely Africans, neither purely Europeans. It was made for the kids that they had with the blacks, the mixed race. And some of these kids moving in, out of the school as well, got brainwashed, became slave merchants here. And historically, they do say the aspect of the mixed race were even worse, because for them, they were born, raised in the same structure where the trade was taking place. So imagine if you were born and raised in here, how you'd also get to relate with those that were staying in the dungeon. Please, any question? Yes, please.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. House Republicans narrowly advanced President Trump's big beautiful bill overnight, 219 to 213. After hours of GOP wrangling, Democrats, including Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, opposed the sweeping spending plan.
The one big ugly bill will rip nutritional benefits away from millions of Americans, including children.
A final vote is expected today. Former President Obama is urging Americans to oppose President Trump's big beautiful bill, warning it could strip health care from over 16 million people. The bill slashes Medicaid by $1 trillion and weakens the Affordable Care Act. And the July 4th travel rush is breaking records. TSA says June 27th and 29th set all-time air travel highs. AAA predicts over 72 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more during the holiday stretch from June 28th through July 6th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There were two special moments at Dodger Stadium last night when the Dodgers played the Chicago White Sox. Freddie Freeman delivered a game-winning single in the bottom of the ninth inning to cap a 3-run rally and give the Dodgers a 5-4 win. In the sixth inning, Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw struck out White Sox third baseman Vinny Capra to reach 3,000 strikeouts. All 3,000 came during Kershaw's 18-year career with the Dodgers. Kershaw became the 20th Major League pitcher to add the legendary milestone to his Hall of Fame resume. Kershaw will be a first ballot Hall of Famer 5 years after he retires. The Lakers may have gotten the center they've been looking for. They signed free agent DeAndre Ayton to a 2-year contract. Ayton, the number one pick in the 2018 NBA draft, averaged 14.4 points and 10.2 rebounds last season with Portland. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready? Drop it! Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let K. Michelle's Kitchen Catering bring your world of flavors to your next event. For all occasions, from casual brunches to office lunches, weddings, and glamour affairs, call us today at 310-819-6213 or go to kmichellekitchencatering.com or on Instagram at kmichelles_kitchen catering or Facebook at K. Kitchen Catering. We look forward to cooking for you soon. Call 310-819-6213. 310-819-6213.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Introduce yourself to the KBLA delegation, all the people of the United States and the world that listen.
Okay. My name is Patrick Kobna, and my traditional name is Nana Bing, and I'm a co-owner of Mansamusa Tours. And we are handling the part of Ghana aspect of the tour. So,
we always love being able to do business with Black-owned companies. That's always one of the goals of these trips. How difficult is it, or how easy is it to have a business like that in this country?
Well, what I would say is that it's not easy. It's really complicated. But you have to keep going, regardless of the setbacks that we face in this area of business. But the good thing is that we are trying to connect Africans and African Americans and all the Africans in the diaspora. So regardless of how difficult or the difficulties that we face, we try to still keep grinding. We try to keep grinding because eventually it's going to benefit both of us, both the Africans and our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora, because we're going to learn from each other, in terms of the culture. We're going to learn. So we are looking at the bigger picture. We are not looking at the setbacks that we are having. Definitely in every business, there is problems here and there, but that's not what we are looking at. We are looking forward what we can build when we come together. We are powerful, so as united, when we become united, we're very powerful and we can conquer a lot in the world.
Why is Ghana important for all Africans, including those that were kidnapped and taken to America?
Ghana played a major role in the transatlantic slave trade, and it's a gateway to Africa, I would say. Ghana is the first African country to get independence in 1957 from the colonial masters. So it tells you that we are very special. There's something here on this land.
And Ghana now has been giving some citizenship to more Black Americans. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I think that is a very good step that our government has taken. Like I said earlier, we are building bridges. We are connecting back to our roots. And this is good for us. So if the government has come in to give citizenship to our brothers and sisters, I think it's a good thing. This year they gave about 527, that is right, to citizenship to African Americans, and that is a good cause that we are taking. So we are all in support of that. You know, the more they come, the more that we're going to grow together, because we are the same people. It's because of the circumstances. That is why we've ended up on the other part of the world.
Do you think we appreciate each other enough? Do you think Africans appreciate African Americans enough, and African Americans appreciate Africans enough? What are we missing? What do we need more of?
Absolutely. Personally, I think Africans do appreciate African Americans or our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We do. But, you know, sometimes you come across, you know, one or two people that might not really connect properly. But that shouldn't set us back.
Right.
At all. No. So I won't generalize it like.
And you
maybe
think
Africans,
we appreciate you?
Exactly. Our brothers and sisters love us. Why are they coming back?
Right.
Of course. They see something that, no, we are the same people. So definitely they love us. I don't think they have any hate for us. But like I said earlier, you know, sometimes one or two individuals you encounter, maybe, you know, you have issues here and there. But in the bigger picture, we love our brothers and sisters. We are happy to welcome them home. You know, we want to learn from them. We want them to also learn from us. What they've lost, you know, in terms of the culture, it's good when they come back, they can learn certain things. And also, you guys also bring in certain expertise that we don't have. And
we created our own culture too. We created a culture that everybody's copying all over the world.
So bringing all this together, we can move mountains.
Yeah. We
can do bigger things in the world stage. So for me, we have to keep grinding. We have to keep doing this. You know, we have Pan-Africa that we celebrate every 2 years. So some of these things is good for our brothers and sisters to come back home to celebrate. You know, to honor our ancestors, what they went through. So for me, I will always say, hey, I love my brothers and sisters from the diaspora, and I know they love us too, because we are the same people, and we're still experiencing what bad things that happened in the past is still affecting us.
Mansamusa Tours, named after a very rich man, right?
Yes. The richest man in history.
So I can see where you're going with your business.
Yes. We want to bring that energy.
Bring the big bank energy. Yes. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, and thank you for leading us on these tours.
Thank you very much. And I'm very honored to be a part of your show. Thank you.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
LA County's Justice Care and Opportunities Department, also known as JCOD, is changing the justice system for Angelenos. If you or someone you love has recently been arrested, come home from jail or prison, or has been justice involved, JCOD can help. We offer access to housing, employment, court reminders, clothing, education, and more. At JCOD, we believe your life should not be defined by your worst moment, and everyone deserves a second chance. JCOD's Justice Connect Support Center is open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Call us at 833-LAC-JCOD. That's 833-522-5263, or visit us at jcod.lacounty.gov. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube at LAC JCOD. All services are free and confidential. JCOD serves the justice-impacted population all across LA County. Your future isn't behind you, it's waiting. Reach out by calling 833-LAC-JCOD. That's 833-522-5263, or visit jcod.lacounty.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. I do not consider myself a fan of Sean Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy Love, Brother Love Combs. But one doesn't have to be a fan to acknowledge a simple truth about his recent jury trial. I think the primary reason he was acquitted of those sex trafficking and RICO charges is because he was overcharged in the first place. Mine is not to opine on his guilt or innocence on any of the charges the feds brought against him. But I predicted months ago that he would beat the most serious charges because, as usual, prosecutors have a really bad habit of overcharging black men. Dave Chappelle said it best, Puffy is in a RICO case all by himself, man. Hilarious and arresting at the same time. When prosecutors put a target on the backs of black men, they throw everything at them just to see what sticks. And too often, just like in the Puffy case at the very end, they move to dismiss some of the charges and then double down on the ones they think they can win. It's racist and it's wrong, and somebody ought to say so. I think I just did. Not for the benefit of Puffy, but on behalf of all the other black men who have been and sadly will be woefully overcharged in the future. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Man, it's funny. This is my third trip to Ghana and I'm still learning stuff. There's so much. It's crazy. We forget that we could fit the United States of America inside Africa 5 times. That's how big it is. And 5 USAs fits inside Africa. That's how huge the continent is. And we forget that partly because when we look at the way we make the map, we put the U.S. in the middle and make it bigger than it really is.
Right.
And then, of course, there are so many people here. And Africa has the world's youngest population as well. But at the same time, the longest timeline of ancient history. So I feel like every time I come here, I'm learning so much. I'm learning history. And even though I said, well, I've been to Ghana twice already, I want to go all the places I haven't been. Each time I come, I see something new, even in the same city, learn something new. That'd be like saying, I've been to LA, I don't need to go back there. LA has got cities within cities within cities, cultures within cultures. There are, within the 3 countries that we've been visiting on this trip, which is Nigeria, Benin, and Ghana, there are literally hundreds of tribal languages or ethnic languages within those 3 countries. And of course, dozens of cities and monuments and places to visit. The sun is shining.
Bright too, by the way.
Yeah, as we hit the road. And so I'm actually grateful to be here. Miles and I were just having a conversation about gratitude. Miles Lowe is here with me. And I'm doing such a better job than last year, Miles. So I'm really committed, we are really committed to you experiencing this with us by seeing the pictures, by hearing what we're going through. And I even posted some food on my stories. You said somebody from last year hit you up?
Man, shout out to, listen, if you followed us last year, we were in Kenya and Zanzibar. You know, we went to the Kibera slums. Interviewed a young man who was rapping, a guy by the name of Queenox Conky, my man. He actually hit me up like, man, you guys are back in Africa? I've been posting about, us being in Nigeria, Ghana, Benin. And he's like, man, you guys are back in Africa. Are you guys coming to Kenya? And we're like, no, we're not. Him and also remember Kelvin, the young man who we interviewed who was part of the protest.
Activist, yes, organizer.
/ director.
Right.
He dropped his first. He dropped his newest projects on YouTube. So we sent me those a couple weeks ago. And I told him, man, we're gonna be out in Africa now. We're not gonna be coming back to Kenya this year, but definitely gonna check him out. So big shout out to the African connections.
Maybe we can get him into the Pan African Film Festival. He can come to LA.
Come on now.
Let's make some things happen. That's one of the things I loved about traveling with you, and I think it's partly because you're younger, partly because you're an artist and just a friendly person. That you follow up with people, helping them with their producing,
right,
helping them with encouragement. Shout out to Love and C too. I feel really bad because that's my radio friend. He's a very accomplished radio artist, broadcaster, well known in Ghana, and he's on in Kumasi now. Same thing. He's like, so are you guys coming to Kumasi? So probably not, because just like California is big, even bigger than California is Ghana. It'd be like, hey, I'm in Palm Springs. Just dip over to San Francisco.
Right.
It's not like that. But shout out to all the folks and friends we've made along the way, and I'm really I'm grateful that we're able to keep in touch with some and make new friends here in Ghana, Nigeria, and Benin. I think I might, I'm sure I'll be keeping in touch with, the princess, because we had great conversation and we've been communicating on WhatsApp ever since we left that conversation. So that's part of the beauty of this travel. And I think it's important, more important than ever, with the world inside the United States, which is not the world, with the United States being so wild right now. It's great to have friends all over the world, all over the place. We've got some excellent conversations coming up for you with travelers that came with us and some we met along the way. And don't worry, when we get back, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Diddy and what's going to happen with him, and plenty of time to talk about the 14th Amendment and how your birthright citizenship may be going by the wayside, and what the extreme court had to say about this, that, and the third. We'll have plenty of time to sit there and try to figure out how we can preserve our human rights, and we can argue whether or not black people need to be in this fight for human rights against ICE, even though y'all already know how I feel. It's not about whose side are you on. It's about, is it right or is it wrong? We're supposed to be the moral compass of the world. And I'm not moving off that square. I'm standing on business. But we can fight about it lovingly when we return. We'll be back stateside sometime next week and broadcasting live. In the meantime, let's go. Let's get back on the road. West Africa, here we come. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood. I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. House Republicans narrowly advanced President Trump's big beautiful bill overnight, 219 to 213. After hours of GOP wrangling, Democrats, including Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, opposed the sweeping spending plan.
The one big ugly bill will rip nutritional benefits away from millions of Americans, including children.
A final vote is expected today. Former President Obama